What? We don't teach you how to make money? We have a show dedicated just to that.
You guys are watching relationship content from people that's not even in solid relationship.
I have a girl that respects me, admires me, submissive to me, does whatever I ask, and I can have other women on the side if I want. Meanwhile, she's closed on her end. I would argue most men wish they could have a relationship like that. DDG tried to DM my girlfriend, and what he didn't realize is the nigga was DMing me. Why? Because I have her Instagram. I have her login information. Right? And I didn't have to do that by like strong-arming her. She just gave it to me. Okay? So this concept of they're not even in successful relationships, not only would I say I'm in a successful relationship, I'm in a relationship that most men envy it and wish they could have. I do what I want. I tell my girl what to do, not the other way around. I'm the authority. Okay? So that's also not true. Let's see what else he's got to say.
I actually watch Fresh and Fit all the time. And it
So he used to watch us.
got me to a certain level of success, you know.
So it got you to a certain level of success. So I find this interesting. We got him to a certain level of success, but now he feels as though he's outgrown the content that other men shouldn't be able to get the information that he got that helped him. I'm gonna say that again for you guys. Because this is how ludicrous this guy's fucking argument is. And I'm gonna tie this all back together why he's saying something so wild. He watched our videos. He gained value from it. It got him to a certain level. But what he doesn't realize is he wouldn't have been able to do some of the things that he's going to talk about doing, finding his girlfriend, etc., had he not reached that level. So I find it interesting how he got benefit from watching us, but then he's telling other guys that don't have what he has not to watch us. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? The only reason you're in the position to say not to watch us anymore and say, oh, yo, don't watch these niggas, blah, 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 because look at what I've done, is because we armed you with the information to do what you're doing. What? No gratitude. No gratitude. And not only that, he doesn't understand that every guy has a different starting place. Some guys really need help, a lot. They might not be at your level. They might not be a multi-millionaire social media influencer. So for them, finding girls might be a bit harder, Jordan. So they're going to need a bit more refinement. They're going to need a bit more assistance. And this is the problem, right? We're like these young guys that become famous and rich young. And I made a point to show you guys this. If you guys look at his videos, this is clearly a guy that's not sure of himself. I sold my company for millions, now I'm depressed. I'm a multi-millionaire, but I still feel lost in life. I got rich and famous, but I lost God. The problem is that you became rich young. Right? You became rich young. And I literally tweeted this earlier this morning. I said one of the worst things that can happen to a young man is becoming rich and famous young. Because you don't learn the prerequisite skill sets to really appreciate what you've earned. And then on top of that, you have a massive disconnect from the everyday man. The everyday man doesn't have 1 million followers on YouTube. The everyday man doesn't have multiple millions of dollars. The average everyday man doesn't have a lot of the benefits that you have that made it easier for you to find your girlfriend that you're currently bragging about now. And that's the problem with these guys. A lot of these influencers, these young guys, haven't walked on y'all's shoes. They really haven't. Early 20s, already a multimillionaire. Bro, you're not going to be able to identify with a regular guy at all. That's why you need to fucking find yourself over here, all these videos. Y'all are never going to see me drop a video. I'm finding myself. Motherfucker, I found myself. You know how? When I was fucking a college athlete, grinding, waking up every day at 4:30 in the morning when I didn't feel like it. No scholarship. I remember the days where I'd wake up, go to fucking, get on my bike. I wake up at 4 o'clock. I'd get on my fucking Specialized bike, ride all the way into fucking Cambridge from downtown Boston. Anybody from Boston knows exactly what I'm talking about. I take Star Drive all the way down to Soldiers Field, where the Harvard football team plays. I'd ride there in the morning, go to practice, train until about 8:39. Then I would take my bike, ride it all the way up Starro again to TD North Station, where the Celtics play. I'd go into work, 10 Causeway Street, burned in my memory, Boston, Massachusetts, Federal Building. I'd go work a full day. Then I'd take my bike and ride all the way back into downtown Boston from North Boston and go to my second training session, second practice session, lifting weights. I'd go lift weights with the team, have dinner, go to bed by 8 o'clock, 8:30. I did that for years. No scholarship. Grinding. Then, next semester, I'm going to practice, and I'm also working my job as well. I'm going to practice, working my job, working my job with the government as an intern, also Division I athlete, and I'm taking classes. That built an enormous amount of character, because as I was in college and I saw all my friends partying and all this other shit, I couldn't do that. They were smoking weed, having a great time. I couldn't do that. I had a government clearance. I didn't want to fuck up my future for some fun. So I built up an enormous amount of discipline by being a Division I athlete and also working for the government, holding a clearance at 20 years old. And I was broke. I was barely getting paid. Right? Then, at 24 years old, I'm in South Texas. All of a sudden, I'm dealing with attorneys. I'm dealing with fucking killers, murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, terrorists, hitting doors. That job made me grow up quick. I saw some of the worst stuff when I was on a job on the Southwest border. I saw dead bodies every day. I was hand doors almost every day. I was talking to pedophiles and the worst of the worst criminals every day. I was responsible for complex, organized criminal cases, dealing with U.S. attorneys every day. SWAT teams, all this shit. So it forced me to grow up very quick. But the mental fortitude that I built up from being a Division I athlete and making significant sacrifices, and I was a big gym rat back then too, still training in the gym, going hard as a Division I athlete. All these sacrifices I made in my 20s where everyone else was partying and having fun and having girlfriends and shit like that. I never got in a super serious relationship. I always worked on myself. My 20s, I suffered a lot. I didn't start having fun until I was about 28, 29 years old when I finally came to Miami. I had a year or two of fun there. Pandemic hits. We start the podcast. August 2021, we had all that controversy hitting us. At that point, I quit alcohol for good. I quit partying for good. Because I said, you know what? We got to lock in. These motherfuckers are trying to destroy our fucking name. Now I'm an entrepreneur. I got a different hat on now. I don't got the Fed hat anymore. But that discipline that I learned from being a collegiate athlete, from going to practice when I didn't want to fucking go, when I was always tired, when I was always sore, when I always felt like shit, when I was fucking broke, when I was riding my bike all around Boston in the cold ass weather sometimes to go to practice all the way down Starro Drive and back. We're talking about miles and miles of biking, practicing twice a day. That built a certain level of resilience in my mind where I was like, I will not lose. And I took that mindset and I applied it to entrepreneurship. All these tangible skill sets I learned through suffering in my 20s. Something that you don't have, my friend. So you're speaking from a position of privilege and entitlement where you're not even able to identify with the regular guy because you ain't never have a real job like that. That's why you're over here trying to find yourself at 26. But at the same time, you're trying to criticize guys that have done far more than you've done. Way more than you've done. Help more men than you have. Reach more men than you have. Have more life experience than you have. So I find it interesting that we give you tools to become better, and then you go ahead with your lack of empathy and critical thinking skills and think, oh, well, okay, I figured it out thanks to these guys. No one else should watch these niggas because I'm a millionaire and I made it. So everybody else, they don't need to watch them. And that tells me, quite frankly, you haven't really done shit in your life, if I'm going to be all the way candid with you. And that's the cold hard truth. You're over here making YouTube videos at 27 years old saying that, oh, don't watch these niggas. They're not going to help me. You know what I was doing at 27 years old? I had one of the biggest fucking drug cases, organized crime drug enforcement task force cases in South Texas. We're talking 50 to 100 defendants. One of the biggest fucking meth rings in South Texas. Involved Lion Kings, dirty cops from San Antonio, dirty troopers, all this shit. I was working with the FBI and the DEA. We ended up doing a fucking huge takedown. That's what I was doing at 27. Meanwhile, you're over here making videos saying, oh, don't watch these niggas even though they help me. We are not the same, Jordan. I'm able to speak from this position because I've actually done real shit. I got receipts behind me to prove that. Anyway, let's continue on with the video here. Very, very interesting stuff.
You know, I was able to meet girls. I was able to have...
So he admits that we helped him meet girls. Let's rewind that.
And it got me to a certain level of success. You know, I was able to meet girls. I was able to have casual things here and there. But it never got me to the point where I was able to meet my wife. Now...
Actually, it did. It actually did. Because here's the problem, right? Because you're operating in 2020 hindsight, you don't understand this. In order for you to meet your wife that you have now, you had to identify characteristics that were not wife material. I'll say that again. In order for you to find your wife, the girl that you're currently with now, she clearly has some characteristics that stood out to the other girls, from other girls that you dealt with. But you had to have other women that you dealt with to figure out what you don't like. So you're trying to say that we didn't help you find your wife, but we actually did. Because by you going out and dealing with a bunch of women, you were able to identify characteristics that you didn't want to commit to, which made you a better what? Selector for a long-term partner. So you could sit there and say, oh, y'all didn't help me find my wife. We actually did. Because half the game is figuring out which girls can't be your fucking wife. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. When these young guys come in, unappreciative. That's why nobody likes this generation of guys, man. No fucking appreciation. Nothing. How are you going to sit there and say that we helped you with women and you had some casual relationships here and there, then have the fucking nerve to tell us we didn't help you find your wife, when quite literally you use the things that we taught you to disqualify women from not being your fucking wife? What? Bruh.
I'm in a point where I'm in a very happy relationship.
I wonder why. I wonder why. All of our videos, top 10 reasons to never commit to her, how to translate womanese, things that will disqualify her immediately.
She is everything that I want from somebody. And funny enough, the way that...
But how were you able to identify the things that you want from somebody, Jordan? Let's keep it 1,000. How were you able to identify the things that you want? Because you figured out what you didn't want, thanks to us.
I was able to attract my dream woman was the complete opposite. You shouldn't be looking for your future wife at a nightclub.
When have we ever said to go find a woman at the nightclub as your wife? We've never once said that. Ever. It's actually been the contrary. We tell you stay away from girls that always want to go to the club. What? Literally, the term recreational use only? I say that from girls in the club. Plus, I don't even go to the club. Now, I've taught guys how to run night game, right? How to meet women in the club, but I tell you all the time, it ain't worth it. I've been one of the biggest critics of going to meet women at the club. I've told you guys so many times, anyone that's been watching Fresh and Fit, you guys know, night game used to be one of my things. But I stopped going out. And I tell you guys all the time, look, if you want to do it, this is how you do it. But it sucks. It blows. I hate the club. I don't drink. So what are you talking about, Jordan? None of us advocate for that shit. Not one time. Fresh be in the club, but we ain't over here saying like, yeah, bro, let's get bitches at the club. Nah, man. Nah, he actually tells you all the time, like, don't spend no money in there and get no bottles. I'm there because these niggas bought it. What? Again, mischaracterizing our positions.
You're not gonna find her there. I found my girl.
Yeah, no shit. We know that you're not going to find her there. We've done videos on this. Girls to stay away from, girls in the club.
At a restaurant that I used to go to. She was just working there. You gotta stop taking advice.
Good. I'm glad that you found your wife there at the restaurant. I'm glad you did. But had you not watched us and got information from us, you might have not been able to, number one, identify her as a good potential girlfriend because you knew what you don't want. And then number two, you figured out, because we've said this before on our podcast too, because he met his girl at like a vegan restaurant, try to go to places that you enjoy going and see if you can meet a girl there. We've talked about this, bro. Like, yo, this is wild to me that he's just blatantly lying. We've said it. Yo, you like reading? You like running? Join a run club. You like certain activities? Join a club there and see if you can meet a chick that has similar interests. We've said this. You literally are using one of the things that we've talked about. Maybe you heard it from us, maybe you heard it from other people, but the point is that we've said this.
Advice from people who haven't done the things that you actually want to do. Is
attract women, go from a regular job into entrepreneurial venture, invest in real estate, get cryptocurrency, network with other people, build a community of men, have a girlfriend that respects you and admires you and submits to you, and you can still do whatever you want. I think these are all things that guys just want to get. Because here's the difference, right, with Jordan, right? He's making his necessity a virtue. He wants one girlfriend. He wants a monogamous relationship. Fine, that's good for you. But we don't give prescriptions. We tell guys, look, this is what you need to do to increase your value. You increase your value and you have the tool sets, then you choose what you want to do. You want to have 5 girlfriends? Cool, you can do it. You want to have 1 girlfriend? Cool, you can do it. We never tell y'all, this is what you need to do. Like explicitly. Unless you ask us for our opinion, given your set of facts. But in general, my advice has always been increase your sexual marketplace value, get in the gym, make money, become the best man that you can be, then enter the marketplace so that you dictate the terms. So if you want to have 3 girlfriends, you can. If you want to have 1 girlfriend, you can. But the point is, I want you guys to choose. But Jordan is making the mistake saying that we're telling guys, yo, you need to do this. No, you need to increase your value. That's non-negotiable. But what you decide to do with your value, once it's increased, that's up to you. We give guys choice. Because not everyone wants to be like you, bro. Not everybody wants to have 1 girlfriend or get married young. Not everybody wants to do that. Especially with the dating marketplace the way that it is right now. But again, you don't know this. Because quite frankly, you're a 20-year-old plus guy. And you don't know shit yet. Keep it real with you. You don't know how the family courts work. You don't know how the divorce machine can absolutely destroy people. I've seen guys literally almost end it all over this shit. But here's the thing. You don't experience this because what? You're a young multimillionaire. So a lot of the problems that men deal with, you will never fucking empathize with, bro. That's why I tell y'all, man, these young guys that become millionaires, they're some of the worst fucking advisors because they have never walked in y'all's shoes, bro. They don't know what it's like to be 25 years old and fucking broke, living with your parents with like a dead-end job and not sure what to do. They don't know what it's like to have a credit card bill that's fucking out the woozah and you're just paying interest to make it go away. Or you're just making it just so that you can go ahead and continue to try to pay off some more next month. They don't know, bro. So since they don't know, they can't empathize with you. That's why this guy is so disconnected from reality. He doesn't even realize that we actually helped him with finding his girl because we were able to help him figure out what he likes and doesn't like so that when he did find what he liked, by dealing with other women, by the way, he was able to go ahead and wipe that chick up. Great, good for you. But don't fucking sit there and lie, make it look like we didn't give you the prerequisite skill sets to be able to identify a woman that's worthy.